since we live in America, it's obvious that we should all know English, right? And we may come to think that it's all we need, and we could get by our lives like that, English. And we may come to think also that it's unnecessary to learn another language. But today I'm here to tell you that in learning a new language, foreign, second, whatever you want to call it, is actually of a big advantage. But before I go and explaining, let me show a little story with you guys of how it helped me. So I had this job interview like 2 weeks ago. It was for a hotel down by Brea, and it was the boss interviewing me. And he started asking me like weird questions, like, for example, what would he do if one of the toilets was reporting malfunctional by one of our clients? And I said, I don't know, I'll probably ask a maintenance guy to fix it. And then he comes asking me, what if he's not there? And I'm like, I don't know, I'll call you for help. And he's like, well, what if you have someone in line while someone calls you about that? And I'm like, God, stop asking these questions. And then finally he asked me, so why should I hire you? What's a good thing about you that would make me want to hire you? And I just told him, well, I kept thinking, and then I told him, well, I'm fluent in 3 languages, and he just nodded like in approval, and things started getting better for the rest of the interview after that. And so today I'll basically be explaining to you guys how learning a new language can help you explore culture, how it can affect you in dating and at work. First of all, I'll start by telling you guys that learning a new language is gonna help you, or it's gonna make a entirely new culture available for you guys to explore. Let's say you're Caucasian and you're learning Spanish, and if you do end up learning Spanish, you'll be opened up to all sorts of music, Spanish rock, which is my favorite, all sorts of food too. You'll have more knowledge of the culture's food, and television too. You'll understand what they're saying, all these soap operas that are funny and stuff. And also you'll know more about some customs around, such as in Europe, where I found out recently that doing the OK sign as approval is actually like a big F you. You guys probably get that one. And let's say that you're someone who is looking for love, and then you end up falling for someone who's different race, ethnicity, which brings me to my next point, that the more languages you speak, the more options are available for you in the dating arena. And if by any chance you do end up hooking up with that person, and then somehow you end up getting married with them, you're obviously going to have to communicate with the person's parents, and you got to know their first language. Of course, you don't want those awkward silences, and then you impress your date more by letting him know that you actually speak a lot of things in different languages. And like I said, you guys end up getting married, you make a family, you're going to have to work to provide for that family. And so how is learning a new language going to help you with this? Well, just recently I went to my old high school at Valencia High, and I was talking with my old French teacher, and she just told me how being fluent in a lot of languages helped her. She said she got offers from courts as a translator, from television programs. They were calling her up. She even got job offers from the United Nations, and she says they look for you easily. So yeah. and also as the workforce starts getting more competitive, the younger generations becoming looking for jobs more. It's actually good that you know how to speak more than just one language to get hired. Like what I told you guys a story earlier, and you could end up getting transferred someplace else. In conclusion to everything I've told you guys, now you know that learning a new language can open doors for you in areas such as culture, dating, traveling, and work. It basically adds a variety to your life, and the variety makes life more enriched, more enjoyable. And so my advice to you is to go out there and just go to the internet and start learning new words and for languages. It gets actually easier because let's say you're fluent in 3 languages, and then you want to learn a new one, and then you start noting similarities in the languages, and you're like, oh, this sounds like in Spanish. It sounds in Spanish. This word and the sentence structures are similar to that other language that I know. So my advice again is to go out there and explore the diverse world.
All right, Ryan, what did you think?
I thought the speech was pretty solid, though the information was all mostly personal experience. I still kind of went along with it. It sounded pretty good. With my own personal experience of foreign language, losing a job to someone that knew Spanish and I didn't, that kind of sucked too. So, but overall, it's pretty good, solid information. He had like this awkward like sway. It looked awkward to me. I don't know why, but I don't know if it was just me. And but overall, yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, Luis, you're gonna have to watch your video. Your delivery is really negatively affecting the speech because you've got a pretty good idea here. And you've got a good story to tell at the beginning that you can make work for you, but you look so uncomfortable telling the story. You're looking down, you're looking away, you're crossing your arms, you put your hands in the pocket, you've got your hands up in your armpits. You know, what can I do to show people how uncomfortable I am? And you got to try and get control over those sorts of things because it's affecting your ability to connect with the audience. And you've got a pretty good topic here. I like the idea of the subject. I thought you introduced it pretty well. Your story that you're telling about the interview, for instance, is a good story, but you need to have more control over it. You need to be focused on it. You start wandering around on the story, and you use the word like a lot, and you're kind of staring off in the sky sometimes, and there go the hands in the pockets again. You know, this is a good story. I was interviewing for a job. The guy started asking me a whole bunch of these hypothetical questions about how I would handle these problems. And as soon as I'd answered, he'd come up with another one. And I was beginning to feel like, holy criminy, get me out of here, because he's just going to keep slamming me and slamming me. And he did ask me finally at one point, why should I hire you? And I said, while I do speak 3 languages fluently, and all of a sudden, he seemed to be listening to me differently. He seemed to be responding to me much more effectively. The way the interview went was better. I'm still not sure if you got the job or not. You kind of left that out of the story. But the way that he changed his response to you, I think that was one of those things that, there's a good personal revelation about how somebody reacts. And even if you don't get the job, it affected the way you were being perceived by that particular person. Your supporting points, they're a little bit thin. I like the idea of the job opportunities. If you did some research, you'd find a lot of information about this. You had a little bit of information from your French teacher. I would always say